I woke up to the sound of my sister's alarm clock. That sharp, chirpy tune that I'd always hated, the one she set deliberately loud enough to wake half the neighborhood. At first, I was annoyed. God, Mia, turn it off, I groaned. But the voice that came out wasn't mine. It was hers. My eyes flew open, and for a second, I couldn't breathe. The ceiling wasn't the one above my bed. No old posters, no glow-in-the-dark stars I'd stuck there years ago. It was pastel pink. Framed photos lined the walls, photos of me and her, except in all of them, she was the one smiling front and center, and I was always just slightly out of focus. I stumbled out of bed and almost tripped over her fuzzy slippers. My hands shot out, slender fingers with painted nails. My pulse spiked. "What the hell?" I whispered. And then I saw her mirror. Long hair. Soft face. Wide eyes that weren't mine. The reflection tilted its head, mimicking me perfectly. I pressed a trembling hand to my cheek, smooth, warm, smaller than mine should have been. It was Mia's face. I was staring at my sister's face. No, 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 I gasped, my heart pounding as I ran my fingers through that silky hair. I checked again, my arms, my legs, even the height difference. Everything matched her perfectly. Then, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was a text. From me. Or, from my body. "Hey. Don't freak out. We need to talk." I froze. My body, my actual body, was texting me. The words blurred as my hands started shaking. This wasn't a prank. This was real. Mia and I met in the park an hour later. She wore my hoodie, my jeans, even the scuffed sneakers I'd had since high school. It was the strangest thing, watching me walk toward me, casual as ever. She sat down beside me, sipping my coffee like nothing was wrong. "Okay," I snapped. "What's going on? Why am I you?" She just smiled, my smile, which somehow looked smugger on her face. "Relax," she said. "It's temporary. I just needed to try something." "Try what?" I hissed. "You stole my body." "Borrowed," she corrected. "Look, you've always said I don't understand you. Well, I wanted to see what it's like to be you. Just for a bit." I stared at her, at my own face smirking back. "This isn't funny, Mia. Change us back." But she shook her head. "Not yet. You could use a taste of my world too." I wanted to scream. Instead, I grabbed her wrist, my wrist, and realized how surreal it felt to touch myself like that. "Mia, this isn't a game." She gave me a sympathetic look that didn't feel sincere at all. "It is now," she said softly. Then she got up and walked away, in my body, and I was left standing there, trapped in hers. That night, I tried to call her again. No answer. Every attempt to text her got left on read. Meanwhile, I had to deal with her life, her schedule, her messages, her boyfriend, who called asking why she'd been acting weird. It was humiliating. I barely knew how to dress in her clothes. Everything felt wrong, too tight, too soft, too, her. And yet, when I caught my reflection again, I couldn't deny the flicker of something else beneath the fear, curiosity. Who was Mia, really? What did she see in herself every day that I'd never noticed? I thought I could bluff my way through one day of her life. I was wrong. By noon the next day, I had already been called Mia more times than I could count. Every time someone said her name, I flinched. Teachers, classmates, friends, each one looking straight at me and expecting the girl they knew. The first class nearly broke me. Her friend group surrounded me before I even reached my seat. "Mia, you were amazing at rehearsal last night," one said. Another added, "You're singing solo Friday, right?" My stomach sank. Rehearsal? Singing? I forced a nervous smile. "Yeah, can't wait." Inside, panic screamed. I opened her notebook hoping for clues, but her handwriting was neat loops of hearts and doodles. Nothing about songs, nothing that would help me. At lunch, her boyfriend, Ethan, found me. "Hey, you okay? You didn't answer last night." The concern in his voice made my chest tighten. He reached for my hand, and for a moment I froze, staring at his fingers brushing mine. I pulled away too fast. "Just tired," I muttered. His eyes searched mine. "You sure? You look different." If only he knew. When I finally escaped to the bathroom, I locked the door and stared at my reflection again. The girl in the mirror looked calm, collected. I wasn't. I whispered to her. Mia, what are you doing to me? No answer, just my own shaky breathing. That night, her phone buzzed again. From me, don't worry about school. Just keep things going. I'll let you know when it's time. No explanation, no apology. The casual tone hit harder than any insult. I wanted to scream, but instead, I scrolled through her photos. Smiling faces, perfect lighting, flawless outfits. And there, buried deep, were pictures she'd never posted. Mia alone, crying. A diary entry followed. No one sees how hard it is. I pretend it's perfect so no one worries. Even him. For the first time, I saw the cracks beneath her perfect image. The next day, I decided to act. If she wanted me to live her life, I would. I'd understand it. Maybe then, I'd figure out why she did this. I practiced her walk in the mirror, shoulders relaxed, head tilted slightly. Her voice came easier now. I could almost mimic her tone. When I opened her closet, rows of soft fabrics, pastel colors, and perfume surrounded me. I hesitated, then chose one of her outfits, simple jeans, a pink sweater, and sneakers. Stepping outside dressed as her felt surreal. The autumn wind brushed my hair, and people smiled at me, the kind of smiles Mia always got. Warm, welcoming. For the first time, I didn't shrink from them. At the cafe, the barista said, "Good morning, Mia," and handed me a drink with a heart drawn on the lid. I blinked. Thanks. Maybe being her wasn't just makeup and clothes, it was how people treated her. But it wasn't all easy. Later, in choir practice, the director called me up. "You're solo, Mia." Everyone turned toward me. My throat went dry. I wanted to run, but something inside whispered, "Try." I opened my mouth. The first note cracked, but then, somehow, the melody found me. Her voice, soft but strong, filled the room. When I finished, they applauded. And I realized something strange. I felt proud. That night, I texted her again. "Me, why did you do this?" No reply. But an hour later, another message arrived. "Me, because you never saw me. Maybe now you will." I stared at the screen until tears blurred the words. The next morning I woke with determination instead of panic. If Mia wanted me to see her life, then I would look. All of it, not just the perfect pieces. At school, every corner whispered something new. Teachers expected grace. Friends expected smiles. Ethan expected comfort. The weight of those expectations pressed on me until my chest ached. During lunch, I sat alone under the bleachers scrolling through her messages. So many tiny favors, apologies, compliments. She carried everyone's moods like they were hers to fix. No wonder she wrote, "No one sees me." I texted her again. "Me, I see it now. But come back, please." Minutes passed. Then her reply. Not yet. You're finally understanding." I wanted to throw the phone, but something inside stopped me. She wasn't being cruel anymore, she was trying to teach me. That evening, Ethan showed up at our house. "Mia," he said, "your brother keeps ignoring everyone. Did you two fight?" I froze. He was talking about me. I forced a small smile. "He just needs space." He studied me for a long moment. "You sound softer today." I felt heat rush to my cheeks. Maybe I'm just tired. When he left, I leaned against the door and whispered, "Mia, what's your endgame?" No answer. But later that night, a note slid under the bedroom door. Her handwriting, mine now, looped across the paper. "Meet me tomorrow. Old Lake." Sunset. The lake was where we'd played as kids. Muddy shores, tall grass, the old dock half sunk. She was already there when I arrived. My body, sitting cross-legged at the edge of the dock, wind tugging at our shared hair. Seeing myself like that still made my stomach twist. "You look comfortable," I said. She smiled faintly. "You sound more like me every day." "Enough, Mia. Switch us back." "I will," she said. "But tell me what you learned." The question hung heavy. I wanted to snap, to accuse her, but instead I found myself speaking quietly. "I learned your world isn't perfect. Everyone expects you to be kind, to hold them up, to never break. You smile even when you're falling apart. And I never noticed." She nodded, eyes glistening. "And I never understood how invisible you felt. You hid behind jokes and distance. I thought you didn't care." The wind rippled across the lake, scattering our reflections. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "So am I." For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she stood and reached out her hand. "Ready?" When our palms touched, a sharp warmth flooded my chest, like static and sunlight mixed together. The world blurred. When I opened my eyes, I was looking out from my own face again. My hands, larger, rougher, were mine. My voice cracked with relief. "Mia?" She smiled, back in her body, wiping tears from her cheeks. "You're you again." The drive home was silent, but it wasn't empty. Something between us had shifted, fragile, real. Later, as I lay in my bed staring at the familiar ceiling, I realized I missed her reflection's calmness, the gentleness I'd learned to fake until it became real. Maybe that was the point. It's strange how walking a mile in someone else's skin can rewrite who you are. For a few days I was my sister, her fears, her burdens, her beauty, her strength. Now, when I look at her, I don't just see Mia. I see a person who carries the world and still manages to smile. We still fight sometimes. It's what siblings do, but there's something new between us now: respect. And sometimes, when our eyes meet in the mirror, I swear we both remember what it felt like to be each other. That silent understanding is our secret, our unspoken promise to never forget what we learned on that impossible week when our lives were swapped by fate. Because sometimes, to truly find yourself, you have to live as someone else first. I used to think I understood my sister. I thought she had it easy, that people loved her because she was perfect. But after living a few days in her body, I realized perfection is just another kind of prison. Behind her smile were the sleepless nights, the quiet tears, the weight of expectations she never asked for. And behind my silence was jealousy, resentment, the kind that blinds you from seeing someone's pain. Soft breath. When we finally switched back, I didn't just get my life again. I got perspective. I saw how much of her strength came from kindness, and how much of mine came from fear. Now, every time I catch her humming while making breakfast, or laughing at my dumb jokes, I feel it, that invisible thread between us, fragile but strong. It's funny. You spend your whole life trying to be seen, and sometimes it takes losing yourself to finally understand who you were all along. A pause, the sound of waves brushing the dock. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: you never truly know someone until you've walked in their skin, carried their secrets, and faced their storms. And when you do, judgment fades, and love takes its place. Music swells softly. So if you're watching this, maybe look closer at the people around you. Your sister, your friend, your parents. Everyone is carrying something invisible. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to see them, truly see them, before life finds its own strange way to make you switch places. The music fades out as the screen cuts to black. Text appears: "I woke up in my sister's body, and she won't switch back." Then, if you felt this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.